Today we're going to read together from Matthew 26, verses 26 to 28 in the New Living Translation. And it reads, "As they were eating, Jesus took some bread and he blessed it and he broke it in pieces and gave it to the disciples, saying, 'Take this and eat it, for this is my body.' And he took a cup of wine and he gave thanks to God for it. And he gave it to them and he said, 'Each of you drink from it, for this is my blood, which confirms the covenant between God and his people. It is poured out as a sacrifice to forgive the sins of many.'" My wife Fiona and I have been married for a pinch over 21 years now, and throughout that whole time, we have always shared food. Whenever we go out to a food court or a restaurant, we always look for the two most delicious meals we can find. We then proceed to eat half, swap plates, and finish off the other meal. Debate rages often as to what constitutes exactly half a meal, but that's a story for another time. Here in this passage, we read the well-known account of Jesus sharing communion with his disciples. Whilst the food is symbolic in that it represents Jesus' body broken for us and his blood shed for us, it also represents the final meal that Jesus would have with his closest friends. His last act of his life was to share food, fellowship, but also himself with his followers. Matthew 20:28 reminds us that Jesus came not to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. Jesus spent all of his time sharing his life with others so that they would in turn find life in him. The challenge for all of us is how we as followers of Jesus are sharing our lives with others. Are we sharing our vulnerabilities? Are we sharing our testimonies? And are we also sharing the testimony of Jesus changing our lives? In this way, when we take communion and as we live every day, the greatest way for us to be like Jesus is to serve others by sharing our lives with them. Jesus poured out his life as a sacrifice for many, including you. Perhaps you could think about how best to honor this sacrifice and how you live your life by sharing Jesus' love with others.